When I was a little girl, I never felt a sense of belonging. It felt like I was the only one capable of seeing the world in the way that I did. Like I was the only one excited to explore different opportunities. And like I was the only one people didn't understand. When I was a little girl, I wanted to make films. I remember I wanted to buy this old camcorder from my brother's school friend and record films. Films about friendships, films about this strange dude that lived in the forest, and even scary films. I remember I fantasized about how exciting it would be to work on a project with my friends. I also remember how excited and scared I was to ask my dad to add to the money I'd already saved up to help me buy the camcorder. Unfortunately, my dream never came true. I never had enough money to buy the camcorder, and it got sold to someone else. People also found my ideas weird, and they didn't understand why I wanted a camcorder and why I wanted to make films in the first place. And this is just one example. People always found my ideas weird and crazy, and they didn't understand that I simply wanted to explore different things to find something I was truly passionate about. As my ideas were getting shunned and people were telling me to sit still, eventually I grew up to believe that those people were right, in that my ideas were crazy and that I should just sit still. Although this is my personal story, I know that there are many people out there with a story like this. I know that there are many people out there who have never felt a sense of belonging from a very young age, because that's what it truly felt like to me. It felt like people didn't want to understand me, like they didn't want to accept me, and it made me feel like I didn't belong. As children, and even some of us as adults, we tend to blame ourselves for this lack of belongingness. We think that people don't understand us and they won't accept us because we're too weird. I know that I thought this and felt this way because after some time I stopped pursuing the things that I was excited about, and I stopped sharing with people the ideas that I had because I knew that they would just laugh at me. As I grew older though, and as I tried to make friends with people, and as I desperately tried to make them like me by pretending to be someone I was not, and only became socially anxious because of it, I realized that to feel a sense of belonging, it is not enough to surround yourself with as many people as possible. Through my journey, I found that there are 4 really important things which you really have to learn and understand in order for you to be able to create a sense of belonging. And so I'd like to share those with you today. Challenge your core beliefs. According to trauma therapist Joanna Philidor, our brain only pays attention to the evidence that will support our core belief, I do not belong. So let's say most of the time the interactions you have with your family, for example, are ones that make you feel like you belong. But there is this one interaction where you felt the opposite. If the overall feeling in your life is that you do not belong, then you will pay more attention to this negative interaction because it proves your core belief that in actual fact you do not belong. So for example, when I was a child and I had some people tell me that I was good at something or that I was talented, I didn't really believe those people because the negative comments had already clouded my vision. As a result of the negative comments from a very young age, I had developed this narrative that people thought I was a freak and that I did not belong. Consequently, I dismissed any positive comments because those did not align with my overall core belief that I was weird and that I didn't belong. The positive comments were simply outliers in a pool full of negative comments. Unconditional self-acceptance. When I was a child, I was never taught to accept and embrace myself for who I was. To add to this, people close to me were giving me a lot of hurtful comments about my creativity and the ideas that I had, and so I had zero self-acceptance. Therefore, I always strived to be someone I was not. I simply couldn't be myself because that meant that people wouldn't like me. And as humans, we all want to belong somewhere. Because of this, from a very young age, I developed this narrative in my head that I would just abandon my true self, my creative side, and simply focus on pretending and on being this nice girl and molding myself into being someone I'm not in front of different people, and just focusing on school in order to make people like me. And as a result, I never felt free to be my true, authentic self. Because of this inability to be my true, authentic self in front of people, I felt like I didn't belong because people simply didn't know who I was. And most importantly, probably even much into my 20s, I felt like I would never belong anywhere. And it's difficult to accept yourself for who you are when, from a very young age, people close to you have been telling you negative comments about you, and even more so when those comments pertain to the most important aspect of your identity. For me, that being creativity. It has not been easy to accept myself for who I am, but the older I get, the less I care about people's invalid opinions of me. At the end of the day, this is my life, and I do not want this life to be dictated by other people's resentful comments. I have come a long way in terms of my self-acceptance. I still have a long way to go, but I love myself and I embrace myself for who I am. And I will never let anyone tell me that I can't do something, and neither should you. Make a conscious effort. Sometimes we can lack a sense of belonging even around the people that truly love us because of our lack of self-acceptance and because of our core beliefs. Of course, one thing to do is to challenge and work on those two areas, but we also have to understand that sometimes we may feel like we don't belong because not everyone will always understand every aspect of us. It's very rare to find someone who will 100% understand and relate to every aspect of our life and every aspect of us as a person. People will also question you, and that's okay. Treat it like an exercise which will help you become more grounded in your identity and your self-love. Also, those people often don't have bad intentions. They simply just want to understand you more as a person. Just think about it. There are people in your life who you truly love, but sometimes when they tell you something about themselves or tell you an experience they've been through, you can't always 100% relate to everything they say, and that can make them feel like they don't belong in that specific situation. This doesn't take away from your struggles with your sense of belonging, but what it does teach you is that you can create your own sense of belonging by changing your mindset. Even now, sometimes I don't feel like I belong with the people that I love because they maybe don't understand something that I'm going through, but at the same time, I don't understand all of their struggles. An important thing here is to have open conversations about your feelings with the people that you love, and those people that truly love you will listen, and well, those that don't, I don't have to tell you what to do here, I guess. Opening up about your feelings to people will certainly help you create a better sense of belonging around those people, and will also strengthen your relationships. There is nothing lonelier than being in a room full of people and feeling lonely. And for this reason, you want to make sure that you put a conscious effort into having open conversations with the people that you love about your feelings, and this in turn will help you create a sense of belonging between you and them. Prioritize healing. Sometimes we're simply unable to understand our feelings and where they come from, and we may not even know that our behavior and mindset need changing. And as a result, we're unable to make progress in our journey towards belonging. If you're feeling like this, it would be extremely helpful for you to talk to a professional about your struggles and how you feel, because they would really help you uncover your deep feelings and where those feelings come from, and it would really allow you to make progress in changing your mindset and changing your behavior. I know ever since I started therapy, it has helped me tremendously. It has helped me understand why I feel the way I do, why I do the things I do, and it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. I think in all of this, it's really important to understand that at one point or another in our lives, we all have and will feel like we don't belong sometimes, but that's okay as long as you understand where those feelings are coming from and why. A sense of belonging is not a feeling that is solely generated by the people around us. It is also a feeling that we ourselves can create, and we can work on creating our sense of belonging by working on challenging our core beliefs, learning to accept ourselves, and trying to understand others better. If you have stayed tuned till now, thank you so much. You are amazing. I would love to know your thoughts on this video, but most importantly, I'd love to know your thoughts on the idea of belonging. Has it always been something that you felt? Have you always felt like you've belonged somewhere, or have you had to work on that? I'd love to also know if you think that a sense of belonging is something that we can create, or is it something that simply comes with time? Let's have a discussion in the comments down below. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. It would really help me get this video out there to people who maybe don't feel a sense of belonging and perhaps they want to work on that. Thank you so much, and see you soon.
And we'll sing